Ame akusia Serwaa akopie mu Court of Appeal ewo Kumasi. Na okopie mu ho no ade enti na okoye ye be kan krata no manya eye krata ni bia me be kan nya hwa ade kropotinti a wakopie mu appeal court. Na ne botaye ne senti a okoho ade na okọ akope. Ye be kan ni nyina mo asisi yi.
Say judge na dwen ye ne say enye original mo koye ne baby.
Now the document no doubt is you could see it's not from Ghana.
Because
your family book.
Apart from your caliber now, obe present here dey bia judge bi beka say enye no obi akofa free baby na say I will see a bisa ho asem yi pa. Then pa na beba ntia e man adwene be ne say mo koye free baby na enye original.
Na say ya ye ka say die. Say case no akakopiem ewo appeal court yi. Say what the marriage set na bi o the abadia me de ho de minim ho asem. Ba se wonye yankam so obenya ho den na o de abai no. But opanyini bi di nkomo bi tama me ye program mebo audio no e de atwa to de ama o ka asem bi wom o se mam yakosi abagana na o seresere na mohunu se na ni age a onim ni ndi gina so nti a na ni aye den age.
Myself so like a video no na wa say e dey amami na dofo me di kan e ka say mama yakotua say wa Ghana na wa ba no an e wom say ni case no an enunti e no ho ha say na emu no wasamba to case na kwa say to no ofi ha na okọ ha ofi ha na okọ ha obedu Kumasi no adofo kire say odi nani ekọ kire ya ahemfie wie no okohu e lawyer kusi ono ne lawyer na odi eye case no djuma no ai omukopie mu Kumasi High Court enam the case ni ho ntie san say still ano omode omodwen say bibi ankoyi ai bibi nso ankoyi esan say sesi ano o show document ene nyama bi omodidi adanse say omankasa enye boapaya nkanya de a omekase saa document yi omeshow ye ndi enye papadofo mpese mekasa be tintin no court omokoye na Ekuonaba aba be reaction and we ready in some of the ekoso e wo honom ni ntikula mama yakotua Serwaa wakwakopie mu court oni ne lawyer na lawyer kusi nso akasa kire wadwen e comment section wona ka mo ni nkuti the court no ene ahemfie nsema e court and after say obedu Kumasi with them mama yakotua Serwaa aha Ghana update
okopie mu no eja team ligafo ekọ court wo bi nti omunyina tuba ya me ombehia no ye na wa two papa shi difa say okura ne bags ni ade a say documents gumu ode kwa ne cases ni ade a nti o free ho no ene wo court de ne nkrata kogugu pono so e de ma ban so omunhwem na ye omunya api ni biem ni ade na karta na da eye screen so yi mama akusia Serwaa ni appeal a oba beye notice of appeal. Please take note that the plaintiff hereby being aggrieved and dissatisfied with the judgment of the High Court. Nese enipa efe no ma me akosia obia odi asem ya ba betu amrenim ni ade a se asem a yebu ye ni judge ntwanchi akoso ma nani anje ho. Kumasi more particularly stated here contained in the judgment of the Ladyship Justice Dorinda Smith Atta sitting at the High Court Kumasi and dated on the 28th day of November 2025 do hereby appeal to the Court of Appeal against the decision upon the grounds set out on paragraph 3 and will be hearing of the appeal seek to relief set out in paragraph 4. Nese yema me Dorinda Smith whatna 28th day of November na oye nyoma ne ya ye fence atemu ni baye no enya de o manage ho entine se o masan babiem a chese ensem o modi aba decision se gina paragraph 3 ni ade no o masan babiem e ba ba hwese de be ya bibia betima hwese betima sesan eni ade. The plaintiff further state that the name and address for the service with the jurisdiction of the person directly affected by the appeal are those set out in paragraph 5. Part of judgment or trial court complaint of the whole of the judgment of the High Court Kumasi dated on 28th of November 2025. Now it's a judgment here course nyina 28th day of November 2025 no ye maame esan so ekoya PBM. Grounds of appeal The High Court erred when it held that the marriage certificate Exhibit B and B1 and B2 was not admissible per SE. The court erred when it held the Section 161 of the Evidence Act in the condition proceeded for putting weight on the admitted documents. There's a grounds for the kwaya appeal no jina Exhibit B, B1, B2. Ayanje a marriage certificate yantum. Let us say ayeka said marriage certificate no say ababe dru Ghana. Original one na Ghana for peno. Me sure so the aba. Etina wasan akwa kopim ewo ho biem no. Me sure say kura pa. Yen san to aso nyanko animan. Oba aye page 2 now say the court heard and then heard the evidence by the defendant was more credible than that of the evidence of the plaintiff. Okay, court no and say nipa wo ba be odobroni no ensem wo beki kan wo court mo hu ni say no mumu de to asomu chen mami akusu ya sewa a oba ya na okura bibi. Additional grounds will be filed upon receipt of the records of the appeal. Ombesan so afale no mabia da kwan so ne ade na court na hwe so metima ye ho adwuma so de amom appeal ho a. We leave thought from the Court of Appeal that the whole judgment of the court be set aside and judgment be entered favor of the plaintiff. Se omo cheni say ade ebe mo makoma ato omo yem sta appeal court ebe ma judgment ye court so ne ade no beto ato njem baabi na ni podi na asema ba be dan court no omba be ka asem no ama akọ ni favor na say ama akọ ede ama no ti komani yipa. Number 5 so was a person directly affected by the appeal. Nipa ayes ansemi ye akwati omo agise aka omo pa eya busuya panyini Kofi owusu a owa abu akwa Kumasi pressure ofori a dodo na afa na ye odobroni ya ono so won kran transitional funeral home a omo so ewo eye omo ye enterprise funeral services a omo wo hasho omo so eka ho na sesese ya ye kasa die MC case no akako piem ewo appeal court yi me so the marriage set na bi o the abadia me de ho de minim ho asem ba se wonye yankamye so so benya ho den na o de abai no but opanyini bi di nkomo bi tama me ye program a mebo audio no e de atwa to de ama o ka asem bi wom o se se mam yakosi abagana na o seresere na mo hunu se na ni age a onim ni ndi gina so nti a na ni aye den age onim case no mu ntwa so ana o mu ntwa so sofo bi se eni papa e odubru ni nkofo ana atenefo eye akosia se wankofo edami page no so na asem nyina tia ne se atenefo na ye odo eye fense papa shi mo no pa atentene ena papa fo no so se enya hwe mu ntwaso mu mane mo asomdwembra osofo nso se mo no so be kan no anyway yentie audio nam di twaso with me no comment section memedin Appeal-Ekuonaba
kana fo asem ba ye kan gregre ma mi ansa na make me mama se wa asem yi Don't see any every officer, mamma, and some of course, one a quarter as my secretary, or by Germany have it some days, some months, and was Abba. Also called this time was received. I mean, only have one other class account, or no, my back can will be the answer as a more Australian. Oh, what are you winning? I very once my can hear. Into Ghana now goes in of him. Court was in be almost on the way here, and be an unknown fan. He has almost a German consulate, no, AM busy German business or Ghana. Obebe mubi muda mu ye nyina be hunu
we say o ma so to ho no oba na vemu
nanka na wo ka se obi onu abetena many years say na won wo kura ne nkrata o ye adwuma no ka sa abrofo no te se na ye widi se no de om de ye ne first ni nyina no ma me na ba wa be chiri mu oba ye bibia mo ma hunu ma ye say no as ya man go ahead wo bibi se wo de bibia wo so wo de opa me yenko ye dum na se nko du court he so go se German embassy a wo Ghana no mbeti asem ni wo wo ha obi hunu
Me finally appeal, you know, there were threats. My wife was even threatened. Pressure, domestic pressure, I mean, happy. I'm saying, because that pressure, if it is obvious that we had a bad case, why will anybody threaten anybody? We are standing for justice and we will get it. I'm so confident.
Lawyer, yes, na Papa Shi crack bi enkrofo feel say original certificate down more than a photocopy ko two baby said enkrofo be kan no asemi my kan say makomani ba ho no kreso the certificate bi aba na sa na tie a wo be ma kwan ma o mo de akocha
certificate I mean kan sam chiro in court, we usually send the copied ones. And they did that. And we got her to send us a certificate. And copies in the court. You now say, judges, okay, or the 2 million or so per originals. I catch a could just say, why envelope or the mail by in a cry. Yeah, the court. So originals in any. And we were all surprised when the judge says, office they are going baby now, and your original now. And look, the level of
judge, who say judge not doing and say, and your original, I'm going baby.
Now the document, no doubt, is you could see it's not from Ghana.
Because
your family book.
Apart from your Taliban, Ober present here, Judge Bibeka say, and no, Obia for free baby. Nase, I will see a bisa once a me pa. Then pan a baby a manager Ben and say, Moko ye free baby and your original.
I don't body.
Angel.
Otherwise, and you know that no, and Pino integrity to suggest that me no go for fake documents about court. What for? What am I going to gain from it? I nobody. Because I know sincerely that the parties, the lawyers on the other side knew it was genuine. The judge herself knew it.
Are you money free if I don't know?
Now, what's your judgment? Judge, initial stages of the judgment will say evidence will say or ordinance marriage certificate from Germany. They are only second one, and until the document cannot be original. Otherwise, it wouldn't sit with her decision. And I want to make answer. I say,
Clay.
Exactly. If she has to decide against us, then she has to say that the certificate was fake. Otherwise, there was no window for her to decide that both of them were wives. And on a lighter side, she has always sought to explain that she met them in the middle and then promoted peace. You get the point? And in the attempt to promote peace, she has to say our certificate was fake. My certificate, I can tell on authority it wasn't fake. It was original certificate from Germany. So that you know.
Wow. Lawyer that's pa na wadaruma adwuma ekura wi abushia asie dalumba mamre kwa hwe wi appeal no ho behia obi na kwa be
in fact o hwe nkrata me de court enye frunti na me de court me seeking for injunction because we saw a rush to bury the body when we were talking about who is a wife and who can perform. These were the two things that the court had to address as far as we are concerned. If you know, can you really from? I have to phone that you file process. If you know, they want to do a postmortem, and that the opinion is not even the rightful person to conduct the funeral. I know you they had their lawyer. Maybe the status of Akusia Serwaa as a wife is what I was prosecuting. And it is as relevant today as it was when the action was taken, because I've said this, the disease is cancerous. Also because the cancerous. I tell you, low, my bet spread just say alone, you know. It is very bad for a court to look at the certificate of a country like Germany and say that fake. Couldn't him say in diplomatic circle, that country can also state that they won't accept any certificate from Ghana because of that decision. And I will be irresponsible if I sit down for that to happen. And what I can do is to prosecute an appeal, which will probably look at it differently and say that, oh, it was an original certificate. Because German certificate, social media, people were posting theirs. There were no signatures of the parties on the certificate. And it will conclude that because the accusers were about the certificate signature, no, the almost sign. Everything we said was true, except that they had to refuse it in order that they can create peace in court. But it is tried knowledge to be worried under German, or to be worried second wife. I don't know. I ABC. So to succeed in doing that, they have to say, we couldn't lead evidence to show so our Germany. But Miss Mamma said, so one the representative your Dobro court. In his evidence was see Lumba Kachum so worry or Germany. Nadana or more worry no. Ye bizarre was saying now I didn't break it down beyond record. One kasi were good no. I break the records are there for people missing Grofonkoji proceedings, especially or more criticizing. They should look at the proceedings and know exactly what happened. They admitted Lumba had told them on 2 occasions that he was married in Germany. And then Bizarre said, did you look at the certificate of divorce? Obviously, they didn't. And I'm saying, I'm 419. That's the trend of the cross-examination. That if you knew somebody was married under German law, that's about you have to ask for a decree of divorce. Otherwise, it could happen that the marriage was subsistent. You get the point. So, to me, there was evidence overwhelming. Mr. Penny says that he wasn't there when they were married, he wasn't there when they were divorcing. To them, who has MDR. Although Bruni witness is there, Lumba catch up say, our dinner a good one customer could chuchum. What do I say? And so there was even evidence apart from the issue of certification and all. I say Mranama Kwanso Jitum, even though there was no certification. Until we are confident, and yes, Lumbanani and Bessie, and I hear you be and through Dobro, but we want the truth.
Me Tanichi. Me Tanichi say, minim say, nukredie na Nyankopon a wo soro no. Sebi ahimfo kra ye konkonwa dem a ye bompa ye. Na ye de yensa kire ne say, twedi amponkwame. Wo na wo bo soro ebo asase no. Nukre no ebededi. Tiano ena me santiman koso hene sebi santi hene edi dibrebi amame na wa mame nyansa wapone ne nyansa kakra amame de mimbedi atem mimbe kansem hunu na mom de metanechi because me hunu say no kra ne de eye baako minim nia sabi minua Charles Kojo Fosu oware no minim fitete ne fe na meba be kire say Charles Kojo Fosu o the certificate bi abe kire me an minim de oware no inti se obi eti baby no se ente saade a wa eda utiri so yeso ye bompa ya me konkonya dem a me bompa ya mami akosi asewa inti so obi ti no obedi matama emfa me hu because me de no kran na meka na enipa bebre ewo ho a wo nim no kre no enso wo nka no kre me de meka kire me nua ba ne se rechere de yewra santene wompe nkontompo wompe se obi ebeba no abeka asema enye no kra kire no bebre yes ade gye nyama bebre nanso santene wompe sa takosi asewa wonjina pintin me de minim se dache enche bia no obedi nkunim
sabrabina de casa
Ayne Adarma. Yes, I'm dead. No. What did I rap to so why? I know Adarma. I was trying to search. Monantis Adam you.
Yo, not Shami. Ewie ohu abusia wa ha na enye ne bebre pay for see nim na se bisa ewie ohu se ye ni aye maame ye yire ye kuma yase ye bibia odadudum eye akosi asewa afosu eye afi etwa mu no ye nyina yenim eframa a eboye ema okunu Charles Kojofosu oda ne benkum so da maame soso etwa nani a de ntwa abusu etwa nani a ntwa na mpanyise se wahoboa enso akwantu a da ne no ma bibi wo so a ese wo ye no ye ni enne mu huma me a na se ye se obafie na obehu abusia no behu ohene a wo fie na ode amamre eni amane eto ebi ese da wo hu ye wie ya da no tire bae
Sa akite twa mu na afamaja mpatini kwa ema na kwa sita sawisi ya kutufusu watu anaanza kuanzia ina ni kia sa na mredi sabi bani si ya dawa kwa mtu tiende ewa temu sabi yeni maso ana amalika sabi ya sumise ya siye ne owu amani dia sisa adani kre ise obana amamre kwa so abetia ni so no na yesefa tanu ono so se dira we ede ejani lu akwan enti ye wa dwene mu a ye dwen wonu twa ne so bani dia machi ene sam so ko dia beka ya mu dada no amuti ye no ene die mo de bae no eno a na eda so mu a ebi mu aya wonu dia machi na ene mani to ma me agusu asewa ene agusu na bae se mo ba ma wo se ampa mira otia na echi kakra oni ha nanso okase oni ha nti sabi yentra petusu ni amanye e ma penifo ha na nan bi e wa ha anya hwekra no nhu ofara koku ha nhu asona penifo ha ana oni ani osum oni yewura ana sum yewura otia na echi a otimi de echi jam isa se na ja sini penifo akeni abia ono ani peni a wotena mu na wahwe na yama busu akwa banye fifi amanye nti se bia ma bana mu ni kura na abacha paso akofo ban a na ewura otia na echi emrefa mu no ngo mu ewura na bia etia no nti mani tu yama ne busu na pale
Fifi nona
Madame, c'est Manesso. Yes, and there is no I have to so. And now, come up, you need now, but
It's just a right, that's what I said. I have this one. We have this one, yeah, but I don't know. Okay, time for one for one. So it's only a year as they didn't know. Sad, she had no madam. Manage it.
And she said, "I'm kind of celebrating and come up with her. This in chambers."
For a year, Mamma Serwaa powerful, Serwaa Blackatu, or Balcony, and there were in a bushia, Abba, Nanama corner for Parcoso, and Abba champion, so Kofi by Otosomi and Son. One enema minimum, and then ye di a maniani a mamre, or Baba Chianukunu, a bushia, into a never Banukununchi, into Mumuya, a bushia, Shia, and they are near sit nimpon. A shema and a bedroom near maybe one. The word you Ghana for a bamati, the woman in Mamma Serwaa powerful yardina of a Yapokuaha, my Georgian and ye, Adomania, Catching at a woman, and ye be swinging aid to Mamma Serwaa. Now, dear, any apple pet, our nanopartial. Almighty Papa, Reverend. Evangelist. Papa. Na bia na wodi enyamsam. Ni bibio enyamsam to ande enyamsam de wodi no ho agora ne wono nche. Because na nani mosum so wa. Ya busia panyini ye nyaya de doctor ya Brian Konoma. Se social media for de munim ne mre bi o ana tifie a bibi ebesi bia o de bo amane ti meka se pa akoso akọ na busia wa ande ye panyin na akokun so wa ha na na ma chia me wa ha na na mframa wa ha anto afilia wa ha akoratufuo ogondia na baafo echi ene mande na nti na ya de nyina preko ya sofo wa ha e ma no ha ye ba no ana mo ko no ho no we mela so na so ahu